Good morning, world. This is Judy. Okay, so I am so in a different world right now. We are late. I apologize for the tardiness, but good morning, world. I am Judy, your web-based therapist, making therapy accessible and convenient for our clients in Florida and New York, and of course, sharing information worldwide. Today, we are having yet another conversation about stuff different from what we normally talk about. You guys know if you've been following lately, we've been having a few different conversations about some different things. And making therapy accessible and convenient for our clients. Okay, that didn't work. Now I know the phone works, right? Um, so, anyways, to this week, I really had no intention of having one of these live chats. But there's something that has been bothering me. That movie, what's the movie called? Cuties. That I've been seeing all the outrage, all the stuff, all the conversation happening about it, and it has made me. It really bothered me to the point that I said I want to have a conversation, and I was so lucky that I was able to get a couple people to come on and say yes, we'll come talk about it with you. So today we have with us, let me make sure I get this correctly. We have Delvin Thomas. If you can see, Delvin is the one with the with the glasses and the beard. This is new. This is the first time I've seen him with a beard, so I'm not sure how much I like the beard yet, but I could work with it maybe. But Delvin Thomas is the president of I've never
Sire.
Sire, the
Mhm.
president of Sire Group. I know you just sent it to me, but for some reason it disappeared and I can't even see where it is. Oh,
Sire
Sire
Development.
Development Group. Yes. Delvin Thomas is the president of Sire Development Group. He is a real estate developer and a builder. And Nancy and Angela, say hi, Angela. Nancy and Angela are also joining us from Seattle. Yes, she has her little Seattle. No, that's an Eagle ad.
That's an Eagle Hawk.
Yeah, I thought this whole time I thought that was repping for your city and stuff, but now it's okay. But Nancy is a senior software engineer out of. She's supposed to be out of Washington, but she's repping for the Eagles. Well, we'll take her anyway because we like her. We like her despite her taste in Eagles. But guys, thank you again so much for being here.
Pleasure.
What I'm usually that person where whenever the controversy starts with something, I'm like, nope, I don't want to deal with this. Or when people will tell me, hey, you should talk about such and such thing that's happening, I'm like, nah, I'm good. But for whatever reason, this one really hit me, and this one made me want to like, yeah, let's have a conversation because the movie came out and people started talking about it, and it felt to me that a narrative developed around the movie that wasn't exactly great, and people started having conversations and I guess it's called cancel culture now. So first thing I want to ask is, what was your thoughts on the movie? Because I liked your Nancy, you shared a perspective that I liked. So what was your thoughts on the movie?
I mean, my thoughts were this is kind of how it is when you're growing up and you make friends outside of your culture. You get peer pressure to do things that you typically wouldn't do being around people who have the best intentions for you.
Mm-hmm.
And these girls were cruel, and she she didn't really care because she was an outsider and she wanted to fit in, and the things she was doing was outside of what she knows to do, and it wasn't something that she would typically do, but the peer pressure of fitting in and wanting to be accepted in a social group because you see how many people pay attention to them is it's overwhelming because you're going through so many things in your family home that the way to escape it is to do something that's outside of your typical norm.
Mm-hmm.
So when people were watching I think they forgot the perspective of how you grew up. What did you get peer pressure to do? How did you act out when something inside your home what's happening. It's not the same for everyone. For some people, you know, probably just go shopping, or if you have money, or you're smoking. So some movies show that, where you're smoking or you're bringing a gun to school. That, for that age group, that's not what they're going through.
What about you, Delphin? What was your thoughts?
My thoughts were pretty much my muted. Can you hear me?
No, I can hear
Okay.
you.
Okay. No, my thoughts were pretty much was a young lady seeking attention outside of, like Nan said, of something of her culture and her raising, but it was so structured that what turned her on and what attracted her to it was the freedom that those girls were having, the freedom that they were having. They were able to do what they wanted to do. They didn't care about the rules, the guidelines, how to walk the lane, you know, and that's attractive to anybody. That's
Yeah.
not just little kids. Adults are attracted to that because we live our life trying to be free. We live our life trying to be free. We try to free ourselves from jobs. We try to free ourselves from whatever rules or perimeters were put around us, right? So that's kind of like when people use the line living our best life. What does that mean? What does that
Hey,
mean?
we're living our best life doing whatever we're doing.
Right. And some people take it to the extreme without guidelines. So that's what I picked up from it. And you know, you have a lot of these kids here that are left to their own devices, and that's basically what she was left with, to her own devices to figure it out until her mom stepped forward to reel her back in, because what she saw was her mother being basically emotionally abused and not having a say, you know, following the cultural rules and things like that. Like when the grandmother told her mother, aunt told her mother, you know, be a woman. What does that mean? Be a woman?
Be
You
a
know,
woman and
y'all
taking your, what is it? Taking your husband's new wife.
new wife, right? You know, and you know, and obviously we know from us all coming from different cultural backgrounds that is common with certain cultures, but just because that's what it is, that's not meaning what you want to be as as an individual human, you know. So that was a tough thing. So she saw her mom just be emotionally basically abused and had to take things, and she didn't want that. So she sought out those friendships and those associations to say, hey, I can be free and wild and whatever, you know. But that's basically not what she was looking for, but it was attractive because of what she was living in.
One of the things that I thought when I looked at the movie, I've been Ami, not wild Ami, but I've been where Ami is, because she moved into a new area with a very traditional closed culture type of family, and then she's put into this setting of, hey, we're free, we are doing whatever. Because I was almost, it was like maybe a few weeks before I turned 13 that I moved from Haiti into Boston. Complete different, what do you call it? Complete, the culture was totally different. But I was expected to be this good Haitian girl, but at the same time, I had to figure out how to be this living in America person. So it was lucky for me. I did end up with a group. It's just that my group of friends were not doing the stuff that Ami's friends were doing. But I can easily see, just based on her story and how things went with her, I can easily see how that happens to girls all over the place when you're taking them into, you know, when they're having to navigate the bicultural childhood experience. So, yeah, to me, that was a big thing. Any thoughts, Nancy?
Yeah, I I agree with what you said. I had this perspective that what if I grew up differently and I wasn't going to church every 3 days? Oh, sorry, Angela's learning Spanish. Um, I would definitely be in probably in that wrong crowd in school where people are skipping school to go smoke weed or
at all, just to have something to do. Sorry, is that me?
No, hold on. Okay, go ahead. I was trying to get your video on, but okay, go ahead.
right. Yeah, so I think some of us get lucky and some of us don't because we have someone watching over us.
Mm-hmm.
And if you watch the different movies like Precious or this Bow Wow movie where he's in a foster home, he gets lucky because he is surrounded by other kids who wants the best for him. Despite his situation, he can either play basketball or just go that route where he's selling drugs. So because it's kind of like the typical norm, should I get pressure to do what's expected of me, or should I go the other route and fulfill my fullest potential? This is not going to be a conversation that just stops at one generation. It's something that we all go through. Even at work, we want to impress the group that we're in, and despite that, we might feel uncomfortable just to be accepted. So it's not just these young girls are exploiting themselves. How can Netflix be tolerating pedophilia? I don't. There was just one scene where she took a picture of her.
I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that one. I'm coming.
Well, it's actions like that. We do what we want to get accepted. I mean, it's not even what we want. We just do what we think is expected of us.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it takes a while because we have to fight ourselves every single time in every stage of our life.
My concern, or one of the things that really made me want to talk about this movie, is that I see a lot of people having this whole conversation of this movie is child pornography. This movie or these people are condoning child pornography. I cannot believe. And the director, who is a black woman, she's Senegalese French, and she has actually been receiving death threats. What's her Mia? I practice saying the name Mia Mou. Decoure is her last name. I know that much, but it seems like we're accepting of, what do you call it? We're accepting of this behavior in this situation in some places, but for whatever reason, her movie is not being accepted. And for me, that was a concern because after watching this movie, I went ahead and I watched a few clips of what's the thing called? Dance Moms, which has been on television since 2011. There was another one, Bring It. I believe that one started. I didn't write down what year that started, but that started maybe a year or two after Dance Moms. I watched a few clips of those because as I watched the movie, it felt to me that I wasn't really seeing anything new. The actions that I saw, the things that I saw in the movie seemed to be things that I'd seen at some type of one of those events where, I don't know, like it all seemed like stuff I had seen before. But for whatever reason, it felt like we were okay with those things. We're okay with Dance Moms, and when the girls jump up in the air and there's a split, and then what do you call it? And the camera catches right in between that girl's legs, and we're okay with that. But for whatever reason, we were having issues with what do you call it? We were having issues with what's the thing called? We were having issues with this movie showing, but I will go on the record and say could have gone my whole life without seeing the depth of what they showed. Some of these camera clips we could have gone without, but I felt that what do you call it? I felt that the backlash was hypocritical. What do you think, Delvin?
Yeah. Yeah, my thoughts on that is, I think sometimes it's not the movie itself. Sometimes it's the person that's giving the message.
Mm-hmm.
Because the European culture, they write certain things, and if you looked at a lot of European movies, obviously they have a lot of sexuality in them. You know, especially over American culture. American TV has recently changed in the last couple of years, where, I mean, on regular 8, 9 o'clock shows, they cussing, saying all kind of things, and it's almost like, whoa, what has happened?
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know, if you've been following Tyler Perry's, any of his new shows, or watching any of his new shows and things and clips, that over there, they're cussing like sailors. So, and I think, and what I get from him is, all he's doing is following the culture.
Yes.
And whatever the culture is doing, the industry is doing, he's like, okay, they doing it, we gonna do it. You know, they're not gonna silence us. So I think it's the messenger versus the movie. So whoever the lady is, and whoever this director is, if she was Caucasian, would it be an outrage? Would it be a whole nother thing? Or
that was my first question.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, Lifetime is a regular cable network. Shows these little girls doing most of these things that I saw in that movie. But we're not boycotting Lifetime. Lifetime is not getting death threats. Nobody's saying, like, all these things are not happening at Lifetime.
Right.
But I just looked it up so I could say it, and then Maimouna Dukure. That's her last name. That's her name, Maimouna Dukure. It's gonna take me a minute to get that correctly, but she's getting death threats. People are threatening to, people. You know how they say kill the messenger? People are literally threatening to kill the messenger. Now, the other question I have, that comes to mind is, are we upset that the mirror is reflecting our society? Because I looked at the movie, nothing in there was, including that scene that Nancy started to mention earlier, when the girl took the picture of her private parts. They suggested what was happening, but I think we knew what was happening because we'd heard of this before. We've heard of this happening so many times. But oh, okay. My sister's watching. Hi, Anik. She says, who are most of the people who are angry at the movie? Black people? Could it be that that Black folks are more sensitive towards how children are looked at versus other people? Well, I thought about that, but here's the thing. What I saw was that the outrage did not start in the Black community. And that was one of the things that I want to talk about. The outrage did not start in the Black community. It felt like the Black community picked up the outrage. When I first heard of this issue, it was more, what was this? I forgot her name. The lady, she was one of the Democratic president. I don't remember if it was Amy Klobuchar or the other lady out of the Midwest who ran for president. She was the one talking about it, and then someone shared her post, and then I started seeing more and more white politicians coming out and saying, yes, this movie is child pornography. We should not be having movies like this. We should be getting rid of these things. And then what I found was that as they started pushing that narrative, I found that a lot of Black people started coming with it. Or the movie is child pornography, it sexualizes children, this, that, and the other. But it's there, it's on television. Am I wrong? Am I missing something? Is there something I'm missing? Because I just watched maybe an hour, maybe combine an hour of different clips of those two shows I mentioned, Dance Moms and Bring It. I just combined. I probably watched an hour of different clips, and I saw the stuff. The only thing I didn't see in it was some of the gestures, like when the girl was sticking her hand, her finger in her mouth to be sexual, the little tongue sticking out. To me, what that said is there was an adult there who could say, no, we're going to get censored if you say this or if you do this. But these girls didn't have an adult to tell them, yeah, if you do this on TV, we're going to get censored. So they didn't know that they couldn't do the finger thing. But am I missing something, or what is it that I'm missing?
Yeah, I think the issue that you're missing is what I already spoke on about the messenger. But the other part of that is, how many girls did you have in that scene? But it was 3, 4, 5 of them.
4. I think it was 4. Like
it was 4 of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so the group was initially 4 girls.
Yeah, it was 4 girls. Then Ami came along, and then the one girl got kicked out, and then the one girl came back, and
right. So, but here's the issue: you had 3 pretty much white girls and 1 black girl. Yeah. And the white girl seemed to be the ringleader of all the sexuality and all the, acting out of line and acting undecent and unposed. I guess you could say. So sometimes when people speak, they're speaking because if it was 3 black girls and 1 white girl, it'd been okay because that's how black people expected to act. So
I think part of it was initially it was the little Angelica, I think her name was. It was her who was their hey friend, and then as Ami wanting to be a part of the conversation, wanting to ingratiate herself to the group, Ami started doing research. That's what I noticed. Ami started researching online to help them improve their dancing. And through her research, she was finding things that were a lot more sexual than they were already out there. But as she did her research, she got more out. She helped them get a lot more out there.
Yeah.
Now that's the other thing. If you ask most parents, they will tell you that their children don't do this kind of stuff. Their children, if you ask Ami's parents, because again, coming from an immigrant family, I know that whenever people look at their children as, hey, this is what those kids do. My kids, our children don't do this. So if you ask Ami's parents before this was happening, I don't think Ami's parents would have accepted or agreed that this is something that their daughter would do, because they didn't give their daughter a phone. They didn't give her a phone. It's those other loose kids. So is that a thing that we should be paying attention to? Because
absolutely. First of all, that movie to me was basically pretty plain and pretty. I'll just be honest, it was kind of boring to me. But it was pretty plain, and I mean that I've seen that in middle school. I saw that coming up, so the way those girls were dressing and acting, I've seen that from middle school. So it was like, I'm trying to figure out what the outrage is and what is there to be upset about. And most of the parents, they won't admit out loud, but in some form or some shape, they've dealt with their child going through development, going through social issues, going through different issues of trying to find their space in the world. So, and I'm a father of 2 girls. I've been a father of girls, watching them grow up and just watching their attitude change, going from being a loving daddy girl to going to the space of don't want to be talked to, don't want to be asked a question,
don't want to share earth with you,
don't want to do anything other than leave me alone. So, And I think all young people go through those transitions, even boys, but girls more so. And if they don't have anyone to kind of help them navigate, and they have to navigate on their own, that's why they seek out other attention from people that pay attention to them. So
Yeah.
that's why it's important to make sure we give our kids plenty of attention.
Yeah. I thought it was you have something, Nancy?
I agree with you. Even now, Angela, she hears music and she dances to it, and it's not more shaking her butt; it's just shaking her body with this worm gesture. And I guess when kids do stuff like that or shake their butt, it's cute, and then as they get older, it's seen as being way too explicit. But at that age, what they're trying to do is just come out of this. Oh, this is cute. This is this image of they're still a baby. She even said she did all this research and she did what she did so they can be more considered as teenagers, adults, because they want to be seen as cute. So they are going through this development stage where they're coming into their own and they want to be seen as that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that. I definitely saw the girls wanting to be grown, but the thing is, I'm concerned that we're trying to break the mirror, because this movie did not show us anything that doesn't normally happen. It didn't show us anything outside of regular everyday culture. And I earlier, Delvin, you mentioned how European movies and European film or cinema is different, or has been more open than American. But this part, like, this is American television and American at the community center. I've seen stuff where I didn't think I was old enough to be in that room. I went to an event in Delray a while ago, and the girls, and it was the girls were on stage and doing things, and I think I was at that time in my maybe mid to late 30s, and I felt I was way too young to be exposed to that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I'm lost. I'm looking for someone to set me straight and say, "Hey, this is the difference." Because I'm not seeing the difference. I'm seeing that a lot of people are just talking and causing. Are we dismissing? That was the other thing I had. Are we always, as Black people, are we too quick to dismiss and shun or cancel our own when other people tell us? Because we're accepting of the beauty pageants that sexualize girls. We're accepting of the dance moms that sexualize girls. We're accepting of all these TV shows that sexualize girls. But we're completely out of sorts when this woman has a movie that says, "Hey, yes, this is what girls are doing." Like, am I reading too much into it?
No, I think you're hitting it right on point, because one of the things that I always debate about with our culture and our Black and brown people is we always forgiving of other cultures over our own. As soon as someone states an opinion, instead of us coming to the defense of our people, we always jump on the bandwagon and go on attack as well.
Yeah.
One thing is the most unsafe human on this planet is a Black woman. All right. So you all are always and easily attacked. So we have to do a better job as a community of protecting the Black woman, because without the Black woman, the Black culture disappears. So that's why I believe you all are always on attack. And once another culture goes on attack, seems like we have those peons that's in the back that's trying to get to the front. So they jump on board too, because they have some issues that they're dealing with themselves. or that
Yeah.
self-hate. So self-hate allows you to attack your own people.
No, they need to stop. For me, it just feels like, what is happening? That's what it feels like. What is happening? Because I'm looking at this situation, and it bothered me so much that this woman was getting death threats over something that. And here's the other thing. I don't know if you got a chance to read of some of the stuff, but the whole controversy started with the poster. The poster that Netflix changed to make more. I don't know the word, so I don't want to put words in their mouths. But Netflix changed the, what do you call it? They yeah, they pretty much changed the narrative, because the movie is supposed to be about, it's supposed to be coming of age of an 11-year-old girl, and then the image that I used for the cover for this thing was the image that they were using to promote the movie other places. And then when it came here, Netflix changed the starter image to the more, what do you call it? What's the thing called? To the more graphic.
Right.
Yeah, that I'm gonna use more to the more graphic image, which people thought, which was where the outrage started. And then we have all these people who, a lot of whom have not seen the movie, having an opinion about it. So I don't know. For me,
Okay.
it was
Well,
just. Go
well,
ahead.
we know the line. He who controls the media controls the population.
That is true. That is
True.
true.
Yeah.
That is very true. It was just. Go ahead.
I remember when they did change the the format of the movie, where you did see the girls in an explicit way, and then now it was just their faces, because they really wanted people to give the movie a chance, to not just judge it by the cover. You know, it's because it's like if Boys in the Hood was just showing Black Boys Dead, I don't think it would be so appealing. I don't think you would get the point. You won't even get through the movie because you're so offended. Um, and once you watch it, like if you ever seen Boys in the Hood, you realize it's a really good movie and it had a really good message. Just like this movie, it's a really good movie and it has a good message, and it shows that if you're a strong mother, your kids will get through this period of time that they, like any girl would go through. So,
Yeah, I did notice that part too. I noticed that, what do you call it? I noticed the how parents came in and out of the picture, but what bothered me was all the different people who failed Ami. Like, I looked at the movie and I saw how many different people had an opportunity to be of assistance, or how many people had a chance to just be there for her. But for instance, what was it? The security guard. That part bothered me a whole lot. But I don't think I think people are not seeing it. Like when they wanted to get out of trouble, and Ami started dancing for the security guard. And then when the older guy came out, actually when the pervert guy came out, let me not miss words. When the younger guy, he initially was looking at this, please stop. And then the older guy, he came in and it was more of a, yeah, keep doing this, do more. And when the younger guy saw the older security guard enjoying this too much, he told the girls, get out. And for me, I thought that was an opportunity. Like, he was gung ho about making them, like, calling their parents. I thought that was an opportunity to, yeah, let's help them or tell them something, and he didn't.
Yeah.
And even the uncle too, when she tried to get the phone from him, and she tried to offer herself to him sexually, and he pushed her away, but he did not tell her. He didn't speak to her and say, hey, this is not a thing. I don't know. Am I reading too much into it, or like for me, it felt like those were missed opportunities. I have more, but
Yeah,
your
you're
thoughts?
right. There's plenty of chances in the movie where someone could have told her self worth,
Mm-hmm.
and throughout the movie, she's kind of like figuring it out on her own. She might have heard her mother's voice at the end, letting her realize that, hey, this is not the path I'm trying to be in. But it was like a self realization. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
someone who knows her, who loves her, who has her best interests. You had the grandmother who her only interest was keeping up with the culture.
Yeah.
You had her mother who was going um through this phase of trying to figure out her self-worth, that she the only thing she noticed was that she was becoming of age where she had her period, and that her daughter was becoming a woman just like her. And that's why when she was confronted with the explicit dancing, her mother embraced her. She didn't judge her. She knew that
Mm-hmm.
she's going through a period of time where she's coming of age of how to be a woman. She's not gonna automatically know it. So there was hit or miss, but there was some moments as well. So
So, Delvin, what'd you think?
Yeah, I think it was a lot of missed opportunities. And again, Nancy, like when you said about her coming to getting her period, and her mom like, you're a woman now.
Yeah.
But what does that mean? You don't leave somebody, again, back there I said, don't leave people to their own devices. Bible says, lean not on our own understanding.
It,
So you do not leave a child on their own device because you say you're a woman now. What does that
yeah.
mean? Because if they go out in the street and act crazy, do crazy things, remember your last word to them was, you're a woman now. So if they go do womanly things, don't try to chastise that woman. Right? So the same thing. And again, back to your point with the different men and things like that. You know, again, men have to do a better job of talking to not their own daughters, but everybody's daughter. Because as I look at the community and I look at people's kids and kids that I know and kids that I don't know, you know,
Yes.
if I see them going the wrong way, I'm gonna autocorrect you. Even if you're not my child, I'm not gonna chastise you, but I'm gonna say something to you so you know that somebody's looking. Because one thing in the back of kids' mind is, I don't know who this is, but he probably know my mama and daddy. You know, and I don't, but sometimes I fake it like I do, but I just let them know, hey, like there was some kids in line one day and they was just cussing, and it was an older lady in front of me, and she wouldn't say anything because she don't know what these kids how they gonna react now. But I kind of just turned around and just gave them the eye, and they was like, "Oh, my bad, sir," things like that. So we have to engage, and again, like Nancy said, everybody comes from a different background. Everybody's story at home is different. All of us are not blessed to have a functioning, vibrant two-parent home. Some of us don't have the parents that are in the mental capacity to raise us properly. Some of us, don't have the parents that are at home because they're working, trying to put food on the table. So you're at home trying to figure this world out by yourself. So those are those points that we all have to step up as a community and save our kids and save our girls, especially.
That was another thing that there was a part in the movie where I think the girl's name was Angelica. I forgot her name, but I think her name was Angelica, the one that lived in her building. And when she and Angelica, when they were braiding, oh, my sister puts in the chat Lance Gross, and I'm like, what about Lance Gross? She says Delvin looks like him. Um, but yeah, so when I was watching, when the part where they were braiding, I think Ami was braiding her hair and the Angelica's hair together, and I thought that to me was a really important moment because she was sharing her story about how she feels lost. So when the movie start, we're looking at her doing all. I thought, I wholeheartedly thought, and just like Ami thought, it seems that it was a grown woman that was doing all the hair movement, all the like it was everything was happening. I figured it was a grown woman when I saw that. And then we see her being so grown. And then she goes and she's telling Ami how her parents now spend the whole time at the restaurant. Her parents are busy doing everything and that she does not see them. So now you're realizing that even though Ami is she's alone in her trying to figure out this whole bicultural thing, what's happening with her family, but there's also the whole thing of Angelica is going through the same thing in her own way, in her own little bubble where she's acting out because her parents aren't there. There's no one to correct her. There's no one to tell her, hey, this is not appropriate. It felt, and to me, that was an important thing where we're realizing that, hey, it's not just Ami. Like they're all, like it seems like these girls are all, and the other little girl with the braids, at when Ami did the some I think it was about the picture the that she posted, but I don't remember if it was something else, but she said if I did something like that, my parents would send me to their village quick, which to me says she knows that her parents will send her away, but not necessarily that it didn't say that her parents are going to embrace her, that her parents are going to work with her, that her parents are even going to help. It just says that, yeah, if I ever do something like that, my parents are just going to send me away. Like, I don't know. Did you guys see that part? No.
I may have dozed off. I can't tell. I can't tell a lot. I can't tell a lot.
Okay.
So,
No, I did
that
see
was
that part. Because this was the part where they're discussing how the picture was inappropriate. You made them seem like they're
she said horse or
or yeah,
something.
the W word. I'm around Angela, so I'm not gonna
Oh,
say it. So um and it's like the other girls knew the consequences, and she was so bewildered because she didn't know there was gonna be consequences other than what she was expecting, the popularity.
yeah.
And it did show the dynamic in each of the girls' homes and what they were expecting if they spoke out of acted out of term um, from what they expected of themselves. So so if Angela was to do that, she will know that she will get a spanking. It will be told by everybody in the family and probably be shared. So she will be so embarrassed she won't do it ever again. So this is something that it's instilled with in every child when they are raised in a good home, when they're surrounded by loving family and they're not left to just like Devin had said to figure these things out on their own.
Mm. But see, I I believe that Ami is being raised in a good family. I believe that Ami is being raised by parents who are there. But I think what's missing is that a lot of times parents are there in their own way. The parents are there, they provide for her, they or the mom is there, the auntie's there, they're providing for her, they're making sure that they're paying attention to her maintaining the cultural norm that they expect, but they're dismissing the fact that she's, you know, out, that she has this other world that she has to be a part of. I think that's what I think they missed, because it felt like the everything was there, the people were there, the even the support system was kind of there. Because if you remember at one point when stuff started going down and the mom got really upset and she started hitting her, and auntie stepped in and she said, no, enough, like you can't kill this child, we're like, and then they went to pray about it and started putting the holy water on her. But I don't know, I felt that it was a what intended to be a good home, but they were missing the needs of the child. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I believe it's a lot of families that think or believe what a good home looks like. What does a good home look like? Because wealth could give people the mindset that they have a good home because I feed you, you have everything you want. You know, your belly never get empty. You fat belly around here. You know, you have all the gadgets, you have all the toys. That's a good home.
Yeah.
Again, and you have these things babysitting your teenage kids, adult kids, young kids, adult kids still living in your house at 30 some years old because you gave them everything they want, but mentally and their brain hasn't processed to say, okay, I have to be independent, I have to do these things, I have to get up, I have to, so those certain aspects create a form of thinking someone has to go home because I give you everything you want. I go out and work. I do everything that I'm supposed to do and more, but I don't guide you. Again, being left to your own device. I don't guide you, but I give you everything you want. You smile, you say you're happy on the outside, but if you don't never sit down and talk with your child or things like that, the inside is killing them.
That's the part I think they missed. That's
Mm-hmm.
the part I think that Ami's parents missed because they were there. They were like the mom provided for her. The auntie was there to make sure that she's guiding her. But I felt that nobody was there for Ami. Nobody was talking to Ami. Nobody was hearing Ami. Nobody was listening to her. And as she's out there doing all the stuff, and it's like, and one thing, did you see the part about where the preacher came? Or not the preacher, I guess the imam, when it was right before the wedding, and there was I actually at first I thought it was I thought that was dad. A man came and was talking to sat down, was talking to Ami, and I thought, oh, that must be dad. And then he did the thing where he put his hand on her temple. He's like, no, I have to do that. And then he says, there's no evil here. Which I'm guessing the parents brought in the faith leader saying, yeah, something's going on, like this child's, possessed or something, because that is what they did, try to drown the evils out of her before. So I don't know.
I think that was just another spinoff from the beginning of the movie when she stole the prayer beads. So I think that was like set the tone. Be like, who steals prayer beads? It's like stealing somebody's Bible. Like, who steals? Did you really steal that? It's like, people, a thief will break into a house or a car, but you'll never see them steal a Bible, right? They'll leave that Bible right there.
Yeah, no.
So I think that was a part of setting the tone from the beginning of the movie. When she stole the prayer beads, it's like, okay, here's the change. So don't miss this point. This is the change. And then I think he was the conclusion of the change.
And and she went from prayer beads to phone to and from the phone it was downhill.
Right. And then on the other side of that was just because it wasn't spoke of doesn't mean somebody wasn't watching and they didn't know. That's like the guy knew she stole the phone, but it was just it took a minute for him to say something about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I believe they knew she took the prayer beads because they didn't just disappear. People keep up their prayer beads, but they didn't say anything about it. So they kind of just let it go. But then it came.
Did they not know? Or I don't know if they did. I wouldn't say that they know. I think they may have suspected something was going on.
Right. And that's the point is you suspect, you can't put your finger on it, but sometimes that nucleus becomes that nucleus.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting. I thought it was a good movie. But I didn't think it was a movie that you give to your 11-year-old or let your 11-year-old watch.
Right.
But I can see though someone watching it, as uncomfortable as out there as some of those scenes were. I could see a parent watching it with a child to go through those lessons.
Yeah. And I believe you need to sit down and sit down with your kids and watch those movies. Because the thing is, not even that movie, regular TV, if you don't watch what they're watching on TV, they could just flip through the channels, ABC, CBS, the regular nighttime shows that they shouldn't be watching. because some of this, I mean, really, back in the day, you know, I had to go to HBO, Showtime, Max if I wanted
To
to
find some
hear
risky.
and see some raunchy stuff, you know. But
Yeah.
now it's on daytime TV now, so it's like, and I think another thing we have to stop doing is we try to cover our kids from the world. We try to protect them from everything,
Yeah.
but we're doing them a disservice because they go out in the world and then somebody else gets to tell a narrative versus you telling them the narrative.
Yep.
And you don't want somebody else telling your kids the narrative. So you need to have those conversations, like that controversy with the girls with that song WAP or whatever. You know what I mean? Mothers need to be sitting down with their daughters and talking about WAP. Hey, let's talk about what this means. You know, I know you're gonna be out here dancing, singing when you're not in my presence, because that's what they do. When
Yeah.
you're not in my presence, you're gonna do all these things. So let you have understanding of what you're dancing to, what you're singing. So you don't have Mr. Nasty Joe down the road that's saying, "Oh yeah,
Here we
I like
go.
that WAP," you know, and you like, what you talking about? You know what I mean? So those conversations just have to be had because, like you say, don't cut it. It's a lot of perverts out in the world.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, we had Epstein with his thing that went down, you know, and we Palm Beach County, so we saw it firsthand. So by
Yeah.
the time all it came out, it was like, oh man, we knew this already. But you know that you know they stay upset about it now. They wasn't infuriated about it then. You know,
Exactly.
it was like no big deal. So when I'm hearing you talk about this lady being crucified and getting death threats, did Epstein get death threats for all the craziness he was doing
Well,
with
I
these
guess
little?
he had the protection. Yeah, he had the
Yeah,
protection, I guess.
yeah, yeah. But his neighbors,
Like I said,
his
he had
workers, all them people saw,
he
and these
had the
guys,
protection.
yeah,
The
absolutely,
protection that he had the
absolutely,
complexion of the protection, I guess, that this
absolutely.
woman does not have.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, the outrage is the things that people get outraged about and the things they should be outraged about is ridiculous when it comes to culture.
For me, for me, it just felt, I don't know. It upset me on so many levels. It just bothered me to no end that this was our reaction. But I think what bothered me even more was how so many we all, especially lately, we've been talking so much about how we need to be supporting each other, black culture, black business, black this, black that, and everybody's all Black Lives Matter. And then we let someone else create the narrative that has us shunning and jumping on this bandwagon of crucifying this sister and not even giving like people are I on my own Facebook page. I asked about it. I asked if anyone had seen the movie, and one of my friends commented that, oh, it's disgusting. And I'm like, okay, but did you watch it? And her response was that she couldn't stomach it.
What?
That was the response, that she started watching it but she couldn't finish. And I understand that, but when you tell me that you couldn't finish, my thought is wait, because the stuff in the movie didn't happen until the end. It was as we got towards the end. I don't know if I missed something, but it was as we got towards the end that the movie just got way left sexually. But at the beginning, it was that transition building to it. So I didn't. If you're not coming into the movie with some preconceived notion of this is what the movie is, I didn't really see where it was so bad that someone would say, "Yeah, I can't watch it."
Yeah, I think we're just giving half opinions and again going off the narrative somebody else created. That's a thing that I think people personally have to work on. That's a personal adjustment because that's like when people give movie reviews. I have some people that I trust their input when it
Mhm.
comes to movie reviews, and I have people that I absolutely will not listen to. I just got to see it for myself. Somebody could say this movie is great,
Yeah.
And I go sit and it's garbage. I'm like, I can't believe I spent my money on this. You know, so I always have to draw an opinion for myself. And the biggest thing is you don't speak on something that you have looked at the glass half empty.
or didn't even open the cupboard to see there was a glass.
Right. I just looked at the front and then looked at the back and read the whole book like that, you know.
Okay, so in the chat, what's being talked about? Hey, Bold Music Group. Hi Bold Music Group. I'm not sure who that is, but yeah, I think I like this guy or lady. But DJ mentioned. So he says, so what's the verdict? Is this a show created by Black folks and people are bashing it? To me, in a way, I want to say yes. That's where to me, I kind of want to say yes. It is a movie that was created by a Black woman that people are bashing. Is there stuff in the movie? Like, I swear, some of these what do you call it? Some of these camera shots, yeah, they did. The movie would have been just as great, probably even better. I don't know if it would have been better, but it would have been just as impactful to me if we didn't have a big old zoom in when the girl did the split. Yay, nay? Are we with me on this? Like, could the movie have been just as impactful if we didn't zoom into the when at one point when the girl was twerking, they zoomed into her butt. Like, I knew what was happening. I don't think I needed the close up.
I don't think you should restrict someone's creative outlet, especially a filmmaker, because if you're at these kind of competitions, you would see it. You would have a close view. You can't just say, okay, if you were at this competition, you're not going to see this or this or this. You're going to see that image. There's no why hide it because you're not going to see it. No, you're going to see it. That's why you put it in your scenes. So there's if anybody wanted to see restrictions in this movie, then you should probably just stay home and not live life, because there's so many things out there that we choose not to see, but it's actually in our face. I was gonna mention, like, there's this movie called A Girl Like Grace, and it's so explicit as well, and no one's uproaring about that because this is a girl who's trying to find out her sexuality, and she's hanging out with the wrong crowd, and then she ends up getting raped. And where's the outcry for that person? So when you see another movie that's talking about the same subject, but it's a little younger, I think it's just a plain sensitivity that we're going through, because we can't say we don't experience this ourselves, or we haven't seen it. And that's a bigger discussion. Like, why are we so sensitive to what we probably have experienced or seen as well? So,
Delvin? Me, I don't know. And this is not just for this movie. I don't think I've ever had a moment in my life where I thought, yes, I would really love to see what goes on between this woman's leg. I've never had that moment. Like, so anytime I see those things on television, on any, like, where they zoom in too closely on and I know people feel that it's normal now, but anytime the camera zooms in too closely on a woman's private parts, I feel it's too much for me. So
I think what Nancy was saying is exactly the writer, director, the movie maker is trying to get your attention, and they do those shots to get your attention. And the point is, they want to make sure don't look away because you'll miss the point. So again, they do that zoom shot to don't miss the point. This is the point of this movie and why it's so poignant, because this is what your child does when you're not looking. You know, this is what your child goes to school with full of clothes and then go in the bathroom and change when you're not looking. This is what the world is looking at when you're not looking. This is what dirty old Joe is looking at when you're not looking. This is what I won't use Nancy or Judy. This is what Susie is looking at when you're not looking. So let's let the world know that it's people that are out there that are looking at your children in a certain manner that shouldn't be looking at them in that certain manner. So that zoom in shot was when your child is conducting themselves in a certain way, this is what the eyeball zooms into. It doesn't look at the child itself. It doesn't look and say, that's a kid. And, you know, I find myself and I find different guys that I work with, like, you know, with us being in construction and whatnot, you know, it'll be kids and people walking around the neighborhood, and we'll be sitting there and we'll hear an old guy say, "Oh, look at that," and we find ourselves say, "Hey, man, that's a kid. What you doing?" You know, but we check them. Because kids don't. Some of these kids look more adult now than they ever have, and you know. So, but we always find ourselves checking like, hey, man, that's a kid, you know, and get your butt, stay over there with them bricks and paint and do what you're supposed to be doing. So you won't see that. But we check those kind of people and we say it out loud because, again, I don't want you making no remarks about my daughter, you know, my daughters, my nieces and all of that, you know. I don't want you making those kind of comments. And again, I need your adult eyes to see that's a kid. So I think that was the director's point of making those zoom in shots that people aren't looking at our kids.
Okay, so one of the questions we have in the chat is, so can we get to the point, get the message across without those shots? Because for me, I got the point. But I see what you're saying, where that gets somebody's attention.
No, I don't think I think they need to keep it real, be as real as possible. I mean, it's nothing no different than Jordan Peele with the things that he's doing. You know, his thing is to get your attention, keep your attention, and keep your focus. Keep your focus. I don't know if you've been watching Minecraft, but if you get a chance, watch Minecraft. Is it Minecraft? Yeah, I think it's Minecraft.
Isn't that a game? I thought Minecraft was a game.
No, it's not. It's Craft something. I tell you before, but it's I think it's HBO Showtime, but it come on every Sunday. But Jordan Peele is doing basically a switch of the culture. Basically doing a switch of the culture where he took a woman and made her white for the day, and she was able to be a white woman for the day, but then she was able to switch back to be a black woman.
Lovecraft Country.
Lovecraft. There you go.
I've watched that. That is truly appealing to what most Black women feel, and what they truly want to do. That's a good example.
Right. So I believe that creativity and the message he's trying to get and that he's trying to send, not to only basically, and he's sending that message to the whites. He's not sending it to us because we know. we know that feeling, but he's trying to send to the other cultures of this is what we feel like, and this is what happens to us. So he's being very transparent. He's pushing it to the limit where, you know, those that control the media, we know they're of the other culture, that he's pushing it to the limit that I'm surprised they letting him produce this kind of stuff because it is so poignant on what he's doing. So I think those poignant shots and those things that we may not want to see or you may not want to see need to be seen.
Okay, so we have a good question for you in the chat. DJ asks, may I ask this question? Would anyone allow their children to take part in a film, I guess, like this? In filming this? If your daughter was an actor or one of your daughters was an actor, would you consent to your 11-year-old daughter being in this film?
It's possible. It's possible. Again, it's depending on what the message is going to depict, what we're trying to convey, you know. And yeah, I would. And the reason I say that because you have a lot of things that you have these child actors and things in that have no point, that have no that that are basically garbage. Same, it's no different than those TV shows with, like you say, with these pageants and things.
Yeah.
These kids out here doing the nasty and all this other stuff. Hey, listen, you're setting a message. You're setting a message. You're acting and doing something that the long term of whatever your career is, you're gonna have little girls and little boys or whatever that's looking up to you. And these same girls that's in this movie, I'm sure you're gonna see them again in other things.
Yeah.
But you're gonna have those kids that watch this movie or that's to watch this movie with their parents that's gonna follow up and see those kids and say, hey, I saw you in this movie, and you don't know what their part did to change their life. So you
Yeah.
gotta have people in the movie that they can relate to.
For me, I definitely see your point, but remember when they filmed Central Park 5, one of the things that was really talked about was how they had on-site clinicians to talk to the actors about the trauma and the experience. So I think for that movie, one of the things I would have liked to hear is how they're taking care of they prep the girls, or how they are what they did to help them understand what the behaviors, because this is stuff that girls are doing all the time out there. Pick your local middle school. This is happening at your local middle school. I know that. And these girls even probably have engaged in some of that behavior. But for me, the more important question would be not so much would you let your child do it, as what resources were made available to these children.
Right, Judy, but I guarantee you, those young ladies that was in that movie, I guarantee if you go pull up an interview with any of them, I guarantee they will be able to articulate everything that they did, and you're gonna see totally different children. And when they speak, it's gonna be like you think you're probably talking to an adult, you know.
I'm certain of that, but that's for me. Though with those movies, I know in the chat there, Valerie said that she would never do that, but she felt that it would be it's traumatizing, and that let's see. Plus, how she talks about the child consenting, but I don't know. I think for actors, it normally seems that it's the parents who consent, not necessarily the child. But the same thing, we were talking about earlier with the dance moms and all these dance troops and those cheerleading competitions, where all these things are happening. The children are not necessarily consenting to doing it. It's just, hey, we're part of this dance group and this is what we do. So I don't know if I don't know.
I think it's individual of those parents and parents that know their children. I know I can let one child go to the grocery store and buy all the groceries and give them my credit card. I know I have another child that I would never give my credit card to. So I think it's the individual of the child, and those parents that have their kids in these kind of movies and have their kids that's in the industry anyway, they know if there's child ability. And the thing is, we have to let our kids know their ability. If you suck as an actor or a singer, don't promote them to go out here and be a entertainer. You need to get your school work so you could be a school teacher. So
you can be an actor and still do your schoolwork, I think.
No, I understand that, but I mean, you have people you have kids that they'll never be an NBA star. So let them play, but don't make that the preference of their social career. Maybe you need to be playing golf because you got a better golf swing than a jump shot. So again, I think it goes back to knowing your child and what your child can handle, and you know how you raise your child. Again, if you raise your child in a certain manner and they know your rules and they know how you act and things that trigger you and don't trigger you, they know their children in these acting roles and whatnot. So and I'm guaranteed that a lot of those parents too, with these young actors, they're on set because of all the things that have went on in the industry. A lot of those parents are on set with their children too, or they have a watchman on set with their children.
Yeah. Okay. Valerie just mentioned in the chat how child molestation happens in Hollywood and all that others. in all these things. But yeah, it is important that as the parent, if you are having your child doing any of that stuff, it's important that you are going to be vigilant and that you're going to be, you know, actively participating and watching and making sure you know what's going on. But I don't know. I don't know. That for me, it was I thought it was a good movie. I thought it was a movie that should have been made. I was not pleased. My opinion is that some of those shots could have could have not been there and the message would have happened. But I also see you, Nancy, you and Delvin, I see where you guys are coming from um when you say that it was important to make that point. But Valerie's saying how kids can't handle this stuff, period. But for me, I don't know that we're saying kids can't handle this stuff. I think that's probably where one of the places where things get missed when we're saying this stuff is not child stuff, children can't handle this because children are experiencing this. The whole movie, the whole premise of the movie was um yeah, I get that you don't need to watch this to know these things, but a lot of people, and what part to me, part of the outrage, Valerie said she doesn't need to watch this to know these things. But part of the outrage, I feel, is because people are thinking that this is an other type situation. This is not something that happens in their community. And I think parents and people who have that thought that this doesn't happen, this is not what happened, 11-year-olds don't do these things. I think those parents, their children are at greater risk. Because to me, if you're so focused on this cannot happen in my household, then I feel that the parents um would miss the what do you call it? Would miss cues, would miss things that could show them, hey, your child is doing this. I think we need to be focused more on and just with this whole movie, I think we need to be more focused on, yo, this is happening, then please stop showing me that this is happening. Because I think that's what a good part of the outrage is, that people are more concerned that this is being shown than the fact that it's happening.
I believe if you fear it, you will see it. I've always been a strong believer that you can't, if you're not vigilant, and if you think something doesn't exist anymore, like President Trump doesn't think white supremacists should be denounced, it's just gonna grow. It's never gonna be stopped. It's never gonna be addressed because you can't address something you don't want to acknowledge.
I
Um,
agree. I agree. No,
so this movie really did touch. If it, this is my view. If it made you feel uncomfortable, then it did its job.
yeah.
There's a lot of movies that people don't even understand to the degree, like, yes, children shouldn't go through half the things that make us cringe, but they're stronger than we let ourselves believe. Like I think when I was maybe 10 or 11, I watched Roots, and I see all these children being sold, being whooped, and I'm just cringing and thinking, wow, I could never survive such a period and live to tell about it. I would be emotionally put down, and I
Yeah.
could never imagine someone calling me out my name. And then when it actually happened, I knew this is not something I'm going to stand for because I don't live in that period. And I said
Mhm.
something about it, and I wasn't liked for it, but I don't think anything you do that reflects you protecting yourself, your skin, is ever going to be favored. And especially in America, you can't go around saying this is my experience, see me, because it might not be somebody else's experience, and they don't want to be in an uncomfortable situation where they have to notice something that they don't experience. So
Okay. Okay, we're pushing up on time, and I'm I was getting ready to what do you call it, to start wrapping it up. But I saw a question on the in the chat that I really want to think. I can't remember who said it. I think it was DJ who said, imagine what these kids, these child actors are gonna think, or what if they see this movie later and find that it is embarrassing. Like when their adult selves or their older selves see their child actor selves. I hadn't even thought that far. Have either of you thought that far?
No, no, I haven't. But I always have a rebuttal on something. So I still believe that in order for us to move forward and in order for the world to move forward,
Mhm.
when you do anything, I mean, when you do children's shows, I mean, you got cartoons now that are crazy, rambunctious, So my thing is, obviously, in theater creates certain personalities, create certain people, create certain emotions. That's exactly what it's like Nancy say. If it made you emotional, that's what it was supposed to do. That's why you had to have the kids in the movie for you to really feel it. The whole thing is for you to feel it, for you to sit down and say, you know what, maybe I need to talk to my child and ask them, because I'm sure as parents that after this movie went off, probably went to their kid's room and is like, hey, what you doing? Where your door closed? Where your computer at?
Even
Like
if
we
you
have a
didn't
rule.
see it, you were having that conversation. I'd believe so.
Yeah. So, like we have a rule, no computers in the bedroom. The computer got to be where we can see the computer.
Yeah.
No phones in the bedroom. Same thing, so that's the rule. And I believe that after this movie, that parents went and did that. So she did exactly what she was trying to do, get your attention and get you to put attention back on your children, because we could get caught in our careers, we get caught in our life, we get caught in our relationships, and we have our kids over here just out here lolly, because they're in the same house.
Working.
Yeah, just because they're in the same house, and just because I could be in the bedroom or be in the living room, they could be in this other room, still living two separate lives in the same house with people. And the same thing happens with our kids. So I think that was the point of having these children and you got to have them. I mean, what are we doing? We're going to have adults playing kid roles. Let's be realistic now. I think we could start looking deeper than what we need to look at, and look at what the message is. And don't miss the message. That's the point. Don't miss the message. We could talk about these young girls doing this acting and things like that, but don't miss the message that's trying to be relayed. And that's how people get to the whole point of using I think this is child pornography and stuff like that, because you're trying to get people to miss the message of what's really going on. And what she's trying to do is show what's really going on. And they say, hey, well, let's use this to get people upset and get outraged. So they miss the message. And that's what we tend to do, miss the message.
Okay. So in the chats, they're continuing to talk about it, saying that the kids and the parents may just be excited to be in the movie. I don't know. I couldn't find anything on what resources were provided to help these children in that, what do you call it? To help these children through or managing through this moment of their lives, because it is a lot. It is very, because yes, I understand that children do this all day, every day, everywhere. I'm not saying your child is doing it, but if it's not your child, it's probably your neighbor's child. But I believe that even though children are exposed to it, when adults are putting them in that situation, I do hope that there were some type of resources provided to help them process this, like all these things that were going on. That for me, that I couldn't find anything that said whether or not they did it, but
And
I hope that they did it.
Judith, I would ask you to, do this topic again and bring it back, because I do have a friend that his daughter is a child actor, and they on set all the time, and I think he should be a part of this conversation, because I think he could better answer that, because his daughter is, I think she's 6 or 7, 6 or 7, and she's doing a lot of acting and whatnot right now, and always doing different shows and whatnot. So I think, and matter of fact, she's on Netflix right now. But I think he'll be a better person to answer that, because he's living that lifestyle right now. And he's living that lifestyle of juggling his career, wife career, daughter's up and coming career, and they're running around. So I think he'll be a better better fit to answer that question because he's living it and he understands what's going on and the ins and outs.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, yeah, I in the chat, DJ's talk, DJ's my brother. Hi, yeah, hey DJ. He's also an actor, and what that to him, what he and I think Annie also mentioned the same thing, how they believe that using older people and how they have people in their 20s playing teenagers in certain things, but again, to your point, Delvin, I do believe that having children play the role made this movie more impactful on a lot of people. It made people think about it and see it from a different lens. But that's just, like I said, I hope they provided them resources. So one question I want to ask before we get going, because we know that there's been a lot of stuff going on. One of the things I like to talk about, and one of the questions I like to ask people is, what are they doing for self-care? Like right now, we have a lot of stuff going on. So what are you guys doing for self-care? Why are you smiling? Delvin just did one of those old dude smiles.
What I've been doing for self-care is drinking a lot of bourbon. But I have. But I've been trying to get my 5 miles in a day. I do 5 miles a day, get the heart rate up, get the detox out, things like that. So that's what I do. I'm sore right now, and I didn't get my walk in yet, but I got to get it done. But that's what I'm doing for self-care. Obviously, I haven't went to the barbershop, things like that, due to this COVID. Because that's another thing is I'm not willing to take that risk. And it's too risky with people in their hands and stuff in your face and whatnot. I'm good on that. So I'd rather caveman style until things look a little more clearer.
You're working on your Lance Gross, as my sister said. What about you, Nancy? What are you doing for self-care?
Well, with a newborn, well, it's not a newborn anymore, but I would try to make sure I drink plenty of water. I go outside when it's not foggy or we're not going through a forest fire, and just walk probably for 30 to 45 minutes. Usually I would take her, or I would go alone to get my alone time, my R&R. And then sometimes once I come back, I would make them dinner, or if Eric already made them dinner, I would just make myself dinner and come into the room and just enjoy my alone time. And then once I'm done with dinner, I go back to them and enjoy my family time. I make sure that I schedule my day or week where I have some time to myself, have some time with my family, and then put some time aside for any work or errands. So it's about just scheduling myself and making sure that I get everything I need done and I'm not trying to catch up to anything.
Annie just asked if you're in Cali. You're in Seattle, right?
Yeah, I'm in Seattle, Washington.
Yes. Yeah. Y'all don't have much of anything other than winter.
True. Yeah. I mean, we have that summer. I'm not used to it. I'm a Florida girl at heart, so summer all around is something I'm used to. Now I have to put something on my head because it gets cold, or bundle up. There was no way you would see me in a jacket or two jackets all the time. Now it's like a norm for me. I'm not liking it.
All right. So before I let you guys go, any other thoughts, any questions, what do you recommend people watch this movie? Or who do you recommend watch this movie?
I recommend people with an open mind watch this movie.
Yeah.
Who do you think needs to watch this movie?
I think parents raising little girls that are almost teenagers, because it's definitely a conversation that needs to be had with your kids. It's not something you can avoid, or like how Delvin had said, you don't want someone else to have the conversation with them other than yourself. So, and there's plenty of movies that talk about peer pressure and talk about what might go on in a teenage girl's life. And it's, don't rely on them to convey that message to you, to say, hey, you need to do this, this is what might be going on. Already have a plan, already be ready to have this discussion. It's like you're gonna have the talk about the sex, the bees and the flowers. I don't know how it's said. I learned in school about sex. So, but most parents have that discussion ready, and that's good, because you don't want it to be told by an old man who's trying to take advantage, or the television who's trying to uh make it seem cool, or their friends trying to make it seem cool. So it's definitely something that parents, and probably people who are in high school, who also needs to see, hey, my little sister might be going through this as well. So
Yeah, I would say everyone that has children, and what I mean is, when they watch it, watch the emotion of your child, because sometimes you might get answers that you didn't even know. You could probably see them act and move in a certain manner when they see something, and they may move, or they may smirk, or may, like
That
when
looks too
adults make
familiar.
like when adults make a certain smirk or whatever, you're like, what you smirking about? Because if you say something, same thing with them. If they smirk or do something, like, oh, okay, that should be your cue that they done seen this before. They know exactly what they're watching.
Mhm.
And that's the thing. So back to the conversation is, you need to know exactly what's going on. Why you think you got the little prissy little good girl, might be surprised.
Yeah. I believe Annick says stay warm, Nancy.
thank you. That's why
That's
I'm
what she
wearing
got.
a
She's sporting her Eagles.
champion team.
Well, I'm with you guys. I've been saying this since I saw the movie, that it is a movie that I think adults should definitely be watching. And I believe that people who have little girls in their lives, I think we should be watching it, because if you have girls in your lives, you need to understand that it's not what we it when I was 12, 13 years old, our acting out was let me see. Yeah, but Valerie, Valerie says, I, as a woman, I'm super paranoid and aware. No movie needs to tell me this. I also talk to my daughters, um, and I am a watch. Okay, I am a watch mom. I get that, but those things are telling us what girls are seeing. And I believe that parents, people who have girls in their lives, and they don't necessarily even have to be your daughters, people who have little girls in their lives need to be able to um, need to watch this, because we're having this idea. And I think that a good part of the outrage is because people don't want to admit that this is happening, but it is happening. It's just that this screen put it in front of you to say, hey, this is what 11-year-old girls are doing, so let's please be watchful. So I would ask that people who have made an opinion without seeing, what why does nosy girl talk about what happened when I was 12? When I was 12, we went to school with bare face, and we left the school with a bare face. Let me just say that. when, when I went to school, my face was bare, no makeup, no lipstick, no nothing. And then when I left the school, actually not when I left the school, but when I got off the school bus, my face was bare. But I can't talk to what do you call it? I can't speak to what my face looked like in between the when I got off the bus and when I got on the bus in the morning and when I got off at but we were younger, we were more innocent, I guess. We had less access, so our acting out was wearing makeup. Our acting out was making fun of the teachers. But now we didn't have phones so that we could look at these things that these kids see on TV. So But again, I encourage anyone who has girls in their lives to take a moment and watch the movie and just see what's happening and just not let the opinions of people with an agenda turn you away from what do you call it?
Yeah, and Judy, for those that are saying, I don't need to watch this because I'm helicopter mom, whatever, things like that. I just pray because I've seen it before. And I've seen it from friends, associates, everything. Those helicopter moms, those things, they always got to watch good dog eye on their kids. Have trauma, have a lot of trauma. And I've seen it from the kids. I'm not saying this, wishing this on anybody. If your child end up with teenage pregnancy or young adult pregnancy or just different things that while you thought you was watching and thought you was engaged in every aspect of their life, they missed it. They missed it because, again, adults, we need to be checked by other adults as well. We need to say, hey, I know my kid is doing this. What is your kid doing? We have these conversations with, our friends that's kids are going to colleges now. You have the ones that's at Georgetown, you have the ones that's at Florida State, you have the ones that's at the community college, and they're all having different experiences with their kids. And all their kids have went out into this world and they're all acting in different manners and they're all coming back and saying, I don't know what the hell my son or daughter been doing, but I know they grades thing. So again, we have to police each other as adults and say to our friend, hey, I know this is what you think or what, but I encourage you to look at it like this, because we always got this thing of, oh, not my child. because they know I'll bust their butt, I'll do whatever to them. Okay, keep thinking that,
I wholeheartedly agree with you, and I always tell people that we never know. You don't know what you don't know until you find out what you didn't know. And yes, I do understand that there are parents who are very involved, who are very engaged, and and I always tell parents, you need to be very involved and very engaged. But that does not necessarily mean that you don't need to know what is happening out there, because my mom thought, because Haitian moms have this, or at least back when I was younger, Haitian moms had this thing of the Black Americans. Like, there were behaviors that Black Americans did that, we good Haitian children did not engage in. So, but little do they know, their perfect little Haitian children were doing all the same things, but to them it was like, oh no, that's something the Black Americans do. Like, no, it's something all the kids are doing, including yours. So I just always encourage people to just be mindful of what is going on. Just be aware of what is happening around your child, because it doesn't matter how well we try to keep them, how we close the bubble. It happens. Kids learn, they find out things, they discover things, and they grow and learn more than you even know. So any final thoughts before we say goodbye to the people? So before we end, let me just say thank you to a few people. I see I have Anik. Thank you for coming. Fran, thank you for coming. Bold Music Group. I like this name. DDA, thank you for Bold Music Group. Thank you for stopping by. DDA, thank you for stopping by. Valerie, thank you for stopping by. And I see we have quite a few people, but I don't see much. Those are the only people that I see in the chat. So so those are the only people I see in the chat. So if I didn't shout you out, it's because I can't see I don't know that you're here, but I still appreciate that you are here. So thank you guys so much for coming, and I appreciate you. So again, Nancy, Delvin, I didn't expect this. Thank you so very much for being here. I really wanted to talk about this movie. I didn't know how this was gonna go, so I'm glad you guys were able to come in and share your thoughts with me, because I think it's a good movie, and I think people are giving it or are pushing it away for the wrong reasons. So yeah. Anyways,
Judy,
all right.
I appreciate this platform, and I appreciate getting to express my opinion about this movie as well. And it's nice to meet you, Delvin. And I don't think you should get a haircut. I like the beard. So.
Thank you. Just want to encourage everyone to love on each other. We all going through a unsettling time, and we're just trying to figure out our way through this world. and why us adults are trying to figure it out as well. So, you know, and again, we all need therapy. We all need self-help. We all need to just continue to learn and grow, because as adults, we have to continue to learn. We can't think we know everything, because we don't. And, you know, a part of living is growing, continuously growing and learning new things and learning what we don't know and saying what we don't know. So I encourage everyone to just hone in on certain skills and whatever that makes you a better person, better human, and a kind person, you know. And that's all we need right now in this world is kindness, and everybody to get out there and vote on my birthday, November 3rd, for the right person.
So that's gonna be my birthday gift to you, Delvin. I'm gonna vote. Oh, listen. Oh, I gotta say happy birthday to Fran. Yesterday was Francisca's birthday. So happy birthday, Fran. I did speak with her, but I shouted her out. All right. So thank you guys so much. And if you're still watching and you're not subscribed, please make sure you take a moment, click the subscribe button below, and so that you're subscribed. And also in the description, I have some information on 2 upcoming lives that we have. One of them is the civic engagement as a way to get all these things that we've been talking about with equality and equity and things like that. And the other one is the climbing the ladder as a minority, which I am speaking with people who have played. I know we're always talking about how the cards are stacked differently for us. So I'm talking to people who have played those same cards that they were given and they will share with us how they have managed to win with that hand. So if you're, please make sure you check the description and set a reminder so that you can come back for those 2 events. And I think that is all we have for today. Good morning, world. Have an awesome day.